Well, tonight, it's my honor to talk about a man who was very influential in my life. Hi, I'm John Myers, and I just love doing these short videos about things that happened in my life, people that I knew, people that I know, and the accumulated knowledge that has been given to me that I've put to use in many cases and seen fantastic results across a broad spectrum, from politics to health to finances to music. I identify as, well, there's so many categories I can put in there, but I'm a sober Christian deadhead who also is a worship leader. But I'm also an IT designer and a family man and a father and a grandfather and just a amateur functional health enthusiast, and just really enjoy life. I've done a lot of interesting things and had some great victories and some setbacks too. But I want to talk right now about one of the greatest men in my life. You know, people always want to be able to talk about a family member if possible. It's my dad, Julian F. Myers. Dad died about 10 years ago, December. And I was there, saw him through it. I was by his side in Los Angeles when that couple of weeks transpired. But a couple stories that you will find interesting. My father was a very well-known motion picture publicity agent. I called him the Dean of American Publicity Agents for his era. For many, many years in Hollywood, working from Fox Studios, American International Pictures, then independently on his own. My father worked with so many stars and had so many friends. It was amazing. People from Marilyn Monroe, James Gardner, Vincent Price. Oh my gosh, the list is so long and comprehensive. It's really amazing who he worked with. Back in that golden era of Hollywood motion pictures. And he was a very, Mickey Rooney, there's another one. Oh gosh, Julie Andrews, for sure. A very good friend of my father's, and my brother's too. My brother was also a Hollywood publicity agent. And my father had some great stories to tell. One of the sayings he used to always say was the best you can get out of the worst is the worst. And his father told him that. The best you can get out of the worst is the worst. And what that basically is saying is, don't be around and don't be involved with and don't be pursuing worthwhile things that aren't worthwhile, right? So my father had some things that were really interesting about him. He, besides having an amazing friendship and relationships and business relationships that he brought into our family, we met all these people. I tell people, I principally grew up kind of on the sound stages of Fox Studios. The commissary, which was the big lunch area. You hear of the watering hole in Africa and all the animals got to go to the watering hole. Well, the commissary at Fox Studios in Hollywood, Century City, was where everybody had to eat. And so you had all the stars from all the TV shows. My dad worked on The Munsters and The Outer Limits and all these really cool black and white TV shows of the day. And Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and just a bunch of really interesting shows that I can't think of all the names. Oh, that was Swiss Family Robinson. That was anyways, there's an outer space one. I forgot which one. Young Will. But my father would take us there, and we'd often be on the sound stages. We'd see stuff being filmed. He'd introduce us to everybody, which was a lot of fun. Then we'd go to the watering hole, to the commissary for lunch, and all kinds of people would walk in there, and he'd say, "Hey, that's this really famous director, and look who's here. Look who's here. Look over there, and you recognize John Wayne." And I grew up in Encino, California, which a lot of these stars lived in also. Sonny and Cher lived really down the street from us. The Michael Jackson family, the Jackson Five, literally lived down the street from where I was raised. And it was not uncommon to see all these people around town. But story my dad said, and this is on Channel 2. There's a video. I think I will put the link to the video. But my dad had Marilyn Monroe for a client. And he had to get her from Beverly Hills down to, like, I think Camp Pendleton for a USO show. And his job was to go get her, go to her house, and drive her down there and get her to the show for all the Marines to be able to partake in the show that she was going to put on for him. And, she put on some dancing and probably singing and stuff. And just having her there, was a big deal. So he goes to get her, and he has to have her there, I think, let's say at 11 o'clock as an example in the morning. That's a 2-hour ride or 90-minute ride from Beverly Hills. And he gets there, and the maid at the house says, no, Julian, you can't come in. She's not awake. My dad's like, well, I'm sorry she's not awake, but she needs to be awake. I've got to take her down to her. She got to go. All these people are waiting for her. All these guys are waiting for Marilyn Monroe, And the housekeeper wouldn't let him in. And my dad, as he described it to me personally, she kind of pushed her aside. And it just went into Marilyn Monroe's bedroom and got her out of bed and got her going to where she could make it to Camp Pendleton, and woke her up and waited around for her to make herself up or whatever, and got her in the car. And my dad says, they stopped at a gas station on the way down. She took 45 minutes in the restroom getting her hair done and everything, and she came out and she was ready to go. And my dad got her down there in time. And as my dad tells the story, he was the only man in Hollywood to ever get Marilyn Monroe out of bed. And knowing my dad, he was a married man, and that's the most he would do is get her out of bed. He was a good guy. So I wanted to let you know that he also, one of his accolades was he was a world record holder in the Senior Olympic Games. The Huntsman Games were held in Utah. My father held several world records in the distances, and he died at 96. He was in the games the year he died. He was in the games the year he died. And I think he ran some crazy thing like 13 events. And of course, he got a lot of first places because there weren't a lot of 96-year-old guys running, right? But I think he held some of the records for a while, too. It was amazing. Great track and field enthusiast. I think up until maybe the last month of his life, he pretty much ran every day of his life from age maybe, 50 forward. And he had a lot of challenges. He, married to my mother, and that ended in a divorce. And he had some, psychological issues of the day, the 60s and the 70s and the craziness going on. And he overcame those, and he did do therapy, he did counseling, and he would take advice. And he lived a long, fruitful, happy, nurtured life that involved thousands of people that could call Julian Myers his friend. I grew up in that environment, and it really rubbed off on me. I ended up in public speaking and in sales. And my story is, when I was in high school, I was a track champion. And I graduated high school, interestingly enough, in Oregon, at Sherwood High, 1974, even though I'd been at Taft High in the San Fernando Valley for all of my high school career. My last few months, I moved up to Oregon, and I did quite well. I went to state finals, and it was a lot of fun. Oregon's a great track state. But I was up there and was able to participate in some great victories of my own in track and field. And they made me the team captain. And so then came the awards ceremony, right near graduation. And they wanted John to get up and speak at the awards ceremony and have this thing prepared to say, I had never done any public speaking. I got up there to speak, and I think I probably spoke like I had my hair on fire and my mouth full of mashed potatoes. I don't know what, but I remember getting very red in the face and being very embarrassed, and I felt like I wet myself, and I don't think I did, but it was like that level of like, oh my God, I can't even talk, and I swore I'd never go into public speaking again. And then just maybe a year or two later, a very good friend of mine, Bob Cipriano, who's passed on, who's a very good salesperson, wanted me to try out sales. And it was a telephone sales, a sales room. You get on the phone, you call people, and you sell stuff. It was tape and tools and things to hardware stores. And I lasted for 4 hours, half a day. I got kicked out. I couldn't sell. And I swear I would never sell anything again. So I swore I'd never public speak again. And I swore I'd never sell anything. But guess what? My whole life, my career has been public speaking, and sometimes in front of hundreds of people, oftentimes for organizations. And I have a long, long sales career. So what's the lesson learned here? You never know where you're going to end up. You never know what you're going to overcome. You never know why you're going to overcome it. I mean, there's lots of reasons why I overcame those two fears, but I can guarantee you it was out of necessity. It challenging myself personally, also not wanting to stay in one cast of who I thought I was. Not believing what I told myself I was in a certain way, and then believing maybe I can be something more than that. And today I still have a fantastic career. I do technology sales, and love people, and I feel like that's rubbed off on me from my father, and I hope that it has. So Julian, this one's for you. I'm going to put a link to his Facebook page, which I think is still active, down in the description, and you will see, I think there's a bunch of pictures of him competing in track and field, So kind of really cool, and it's my pleasure and my honor to honor my father.